Hey, horror fans! Once again, it's the Horror Misermani G, and today we're going to do my Saw series because you know what they say: if it's Halloween, then it must be Saw. Now, as I stated in my channel update a couple weeks ago, one of the things I'll be doing for the Halloween season is I'm going to go over all the Saw movies up until leading up to Jigsaw that's coming out this Halloween. As once again, Jigsaw, the killer that comes up with these very ingenious traps as a test of will you live or will you die? Make your choice. Comes back at Halloween after I think the last one was 2010 or 2009. I think it was about 8 year absence that Jigsaw is coming out in October once again, because every year starting I think back in 2004 we had a Saw movie come out every October, and Jigsaw ruled Halloween every for about the last I think 9 years or so, or I forgot how long this series has been out for a while. So basically, I also did some research on the original Saw film that came out in 2004. Now, of course, it was it was actually directed by James Wan. It was his directorial debut. We know who James Wan is. He's one of the up and comer, one of the best horror directors now. And Saw was his first film. It was written by Lee Wainham. If I'm mispronouncing his name, please correct me, because he has a very hard name to pronounce. It stars Carrie Ells, Danny Glover, Monica Potter, Michael Erickson, Ken Liu, and Tobin Bell. And Lee also stars in this film. Basically, Lee and Els and Wano play two men. They found themselves trapped in what is some type of very dingy, ugly industrial bathroom, chained together by their ankles, and they have to find out that they're part of the sadistic gang by the killer known as the Jigsaw Killer. Now, as I stated before, while I did my research on this film, and basically, they written Rain and Wan written this back in 2001, and they failed to get this script produced in any of the filmmakers back in Australia. They both come from Australia. So they eventually traveled to Los Angeles, and basically what they did was they decided to film a short film based on one of the traps, and was also called it the same name. I think it was back in 2003 when they came up to Evolution Entertainment. They liked it, and Evolution Entertainment would actually become Twisted Pictures, and they basically they became the main producers of the Saw films. Eventually, the rights to the Saw film originally bought by Lionsgate, and Lionsgate went on ahead and distributed all the Saw films. Like I said, this back in 2004. Critics didn't were mixed about it, but it became a cult following. Didn't take that much to make. They had a budget about 1.2 million. 1.2 million. That's how much the budget would cost. The film wound up making 104.7 million. So, of course, obviously, it was a box office smash, more than tripled its budget. So eventually, they had to make sequels, and we wound up getting a whole bunch of a series, and now it's become one of the great Jigsaw and Billy the Puppet have become one of the top horror icons as they are today. So, as I stated, by the way, before I begin, there will be spoilers. I will talk about spoilers, as I will go in depth into all the Saw reviews. I'll probably go into in depth of each of the traps that we see. There are certain types of traps that go throughout the Saw series. So I'll let you know I'm pretty sure most of the people have seen all the Saw pictures, but if you're one of those rare people that haven't, then I suggest you go see the Saw films first, and then come back and watch my videos. But here we go with Saw, the first Saw. Now, as we stated before, a photographer by the name of, I forget his name, Adam. Photographer by the name of Adam wakes up in a dilapidated industrial bathroom, and next thing you know, he finds out that it's totally dark, can't see shit, and eventually he hears somebody else that's in this dilapidated bathroom, and once the lights come on, they find out that they're both chained together to pipes and their ankles are chained together. They also see that there's an obviously dead body next to them as well, very bloody. And they also find out that they have these two micro cassettes near them, and they're told to play with them, play them. Let's see. Just give me a second here. Yeah, Adam's be able to retrieve the recorder. The tape tells Adam that he has to escape from the bathroom before Carrie Lowe's character, which is Dr. Lawrence Gordon, is going to kill him. Dr. Gordon finds the tape telling him he has to kill Adam within an hour or his family is going to die. And that's their test. Adam has to escape before the doctor kills him, and the doctor has to kill Adam within a certain amount of time or his family is going to die. And also they find in the knapsack where they found the microset, they find these two saw blades. Now, of course, the saw blades cannot cut through the chains, but Dr. Lawrence Gordon realizes that they're not meant to cut the chains. They're meant to cut their feet off. And Dr. Lawrence realizes that, hey, this is all part of the Jigsaw killer. And he should know because he was a suspect for 5 months. And that's when the flashback starts to go back as discussing. We see flashbacks where we see Dr. Lawrence Gordon. He is an oncologist. He's talking about a patient that's suffering from inoperable brain cancer, and then we'll want to see that's an Easter egg. He will come. That patient will become relevant in a minute. I'm pretty sure most people know who I'm talking about, but he'll become relevant in a minute. We also see that another character named Zepp tells Dr. Lawrence Gordon that his name is John, and that name will come into play as well too. Next thing you know, he's approached by Danny Glover's character, Detective Knapp, and Stephen Singh, who brought a pen light that was discovered in one of the traps in Jigsaw's traps. And then we get to go to the first trap. That was, give me 1 second here, which was called the razor wire maze. Basically, the razor wire maze was for a guy named Paul Leahy, and apparently he fell victim to one of Jigsaw's traps. Basically, this was a guy who was, for some reason, decided he didn't want to live anymore, and he wanted to cut himself with razor wire, but he wound up living, but obviously he fell into Jigsaw's trap. And then next thing you know, once he's kidnapped, he finds himself in a very dark, dungy basement. He's fully naked, butt naked. And next thing he sees, he's in this cage that's surrounded by wires with razor blades all around it. And he plays the tape, and this is what Jigsaw says to him. He says, "Hello, Paul. You're a perfectly healthy, sane, and middle-class male, yet last month you ran a straight razor across your wrist. Did you cut yourself because you truly wanted to die, or did you just want some attention? Well, tonight you'll show me. The irony is that if you want to die, you just stay where you are, but if you want to live, you have to cut yourself again. Find the path through the razor wire to the door, but hurry. At 3 o'clock that door will lock, and this room becomes your doom. How much blood will you shed to stay alive, Paul? Live or die, make your choice." So, in order to save himself, he has to basically cut himself by going through pieces of the maze and having cut himself. Now, unfortunately, he did not make it past the time that the door shut, and it shut, and unfortunately he died due to massive blood loss, mainly because one of the razors cut his femoral artery. That's somewhere near the thigh, and unfortunately, once that happens, you're only going to live for about a few minutes or two at the most. A lot of people have told me about these traps, especially in the first Saw, that there's no way in the world you can get out of it. But if you think about it, you actually can. It's just like in Jigsaw's mind, or in his reality, you decided to cut yourself. You are going to have to cut yourself in order to live. If you really want to live, then you're going to have to cut yourself. I'm pretty sure there was a way for him to get out, where he probably would have cut himself, but not deeply enough where he could have survived and not suffer blood loss, but he took the wrong path, cut his femoral artery, and he died. So that was the first trap. As we're going through the flashbacks that Dr. Lawrence Gordon is telling Adam while he was being interrogated by Detectives Trapp and Singh, we find that the next trap was a guy named Mark Wilson. This is what Jigsaw says to Mark Wilson. He says, "Hello, Mark. If you're so sick, then why do you have so many photos of you up and about? Let's put your so-called illness to the test. Right now, there's a slow-acting poison in your veins. The antidote is inside the safe. The combination of the safe is written on the walls. Hurry up and program it in, but watch your step. Oh, by the way, that's a flammable substance smeared on your body, so I'd be careful with that candle if I were you, or all the people you burn with your act just might have their revenge. Live or die, make your choice." Now, in this particular instance, it seemed like this guy was a con artist. He would fake to have all these type of illnesses and get a lot of money for it and live comfortably. So that came into Jigsaw's wrath. Jigsaw said, "It's like, hey, look, if you're going to be you're so sick, so let's make you really sick." So he poisons him, puts him in his room with a whole bunch of numbers around it. The antidote is locked into a safe. There's no light other than a candle, and then he has flammable stuff all covered in his skin. Now, of course, people said there's no way he could have gotten out of his trap, which he doesn't because he gets burned alive. Obviously, because he dropped the lamp, and of course, caught him on fire. If he was very careful and took his time and not rushed, perhaps he could have survived the trap if he really wanted to live. Again, Jigsaw's point: live or die, make your choice. The next thing we see during this flashback, this is a very long flashback, by the way, basically introduced the traps. The next trap is Amanda Young. Amanda Young is in the interrogation room because we find out that one of Jigsaw's victims actually survived her trap. And in her trap, she wakes up and she's in this, she's sitting in this room. She wakes up, doesn't know where she is. She's got this huge piece of, metal around her mouth. And it looks very scary, and she doesn't know where the hell it is. Next thing you know, of course, we see Billy the Puppet riding on his motorcycle. And then next thing you know, the TV comes on. Of course, he comes and says, "Hello, Amanda. You want to play a game? You don't know me, but I know you. I want you to play a game. Here's what happens if you lose. The device you're wearing is hooked to your upper and lower jaws. When the timer on the back goes off, your mouth will permanently be ripped open. Think of it as a reverse burial trap. I'll show you." He basically shows a screenshot of what happens when the reverse opens up, and yeah, it's not pretty at all. He goes on to say, "There's only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. Look around, Amanda. No, they're not lying. Better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice." So Amanda gets up and the timer goes off, and eventually she gets the little surgical pin. Now, fortunately, her cellmate or whoever's there in there fluent, he just wakes up because obviously he was knocked out. By the time he comes to, it's too late. Amanda's already cutting up into his stomach, and she frankly finds the key, gets it up, opens up the whatchamacallit, and is able to escape her trap. And Jigsaw tells her that, "Hey, look, you survived." And of course, she tells the detective and say, "Look, I passed my test because she was a drug addict, and that's the reason why Jigsaw gave her the test." Now, back to Adam and Dr. Lawrence Gordon. Apparently, we find out that once after the flashbacks was over and both Adam and Lawrence are not getting along together, we find out that they're being watched. And we find out that they're being watched by Zepp. Zepp is watching them through a one-way mirror. And obviously, this is where things really get interesting between the two men. We also find out that Zepp is actually holding Dr. Lawrence Gordon's wife and daughter hostage because he's actually having his own test too. But we'll come back to Zepp in a moment. Meanwhile, Detective Trapp and Sin are tracking down the Jigsaw killer, and unfortunately, after hearing Amanda's story and unfortunately having cleared the doctor, he becomes obsessed with capturing the Jigsaw killer, and he thinks it's the doctor. And unfortunately, things really come to a head after they track down one of Jigsaw's hideouts. And we see this guy that's sitting in a chair, and he's got these two. He's got this silver thing around his neck, and these two drill whatchamacallit about to close into him. We don't know what the trap is about because unfortunately that was safe. That was supposed to be safe for some other test. They activate the trap. They're able to get the guy out, but then Jigsaw comes in, and unfortunately, he winds up slicing Danny Glover, Detective Trap's throat some. And unfortunately, by the time that they chase him out of the whatchamacallit scene, gets shot and killed by a shotgun trap that was up and above. And unfortunately, that's when Trap really goes off the deep end and believes that it's the Dr. Gordon that's Jigsaw, and he becomes obsessed with tracking the doctor down. He actually rents a hotel right where Dr. Gordon lives and starts monitoring him. And we see that he's become totally obsessed to the point where unfortunately he's no longer a cop. Meanwhile, back at the dilapidated bathroom, Dr. Lawrence Gordon finds a cigarette lighter, 2 cigarettes, and a one-way cell phone. He recalls his abduction, basically, when he was on his way to use the phone after becoming trapped in the parking garage. He suddenly attacked by what would become the iconic pig face mask, where it comes up and abducts him. And also, Adam remembers his abduction, too, when he goes back to his apartment. He was actually hired by Trap to keep tabs on the doctor because he thinks the doctor is Jigsaw. We find out that the doctor is actually having an affair with one of his students, I believe. One of his students is having an affair. And he gets kidnapped by another figure for wearing a pig mask in his apartment. Now, as I stated before, the tape that Dr. Gordon listened to tell him that he has to kill Adam before a certain time or his wife and daughter are going to get killed. The tape tells him that the cigarette is laced with cyanide. If he can give it to Adam, then he can kill Adam and save his family. Adam keeps a secret from Dr. Gordon, and that's going to come to a point later on. And when he does reveal it, this pisses Adams off, and he takes the gun and tries to shoot at him. He shoots at him, and we think that he's won, but unfortunately, he said, he's dead. Where's my family? But unfortunately, next thing we know, we see that there's some type of electronic device, and Adam isn't dead. He's still alive, and everything's going to hell. And Dr. Gordon Lawrence is starting to sketch out of his mind because he thinks his family is going to die. Meanwhile, back at Dr. Gordon's apartment, his wife Allison manages to get free from her bounds from Zepp, and we find out that Zepp has his own tests. He has a poison in his body, and he has to do what's going. He has to look at what's going on, and if they don't do it, and if he doesn't get the antidote, he's going to die if he doesn't kill the doctor and his wife. But she gets free, and she manages to fight off Zepp. And next thing you know, Zepp, he's got to get out the office because here comes Trap. Trap thinks that that's the doctor, and they chase each other down to the dilapidated building. Zepp and Trap have a fight off, and it looks like next thing you know, they start shooting at each other. It looks like Zepp finally kills Trap because he's mortally hurt, and he goes into in the bathroom where the doctor and Adam are. Looks like Adam is still alive. They get ready to kill Zepp. They kill Zepp because he hits him in the head with the sink and literally bashes his skull in with the lid of the toilet that they see there. Still desperate to save his family, Dr. Gordon decides to do the unthinkable and saw his foot off. And that's one real crazy scene. Adam, and everyone was scared out of their wits when this scene came up. Even today, that scene still gets to me. He saws his foot off because he really desperately wants to save his family. He tells Adam that he's going to go get help, and he should be right back, and before he dies from blood loss. So we think that the movie is over, but it's not, because lo and behold, the guy that was laying down on the ground, he starts to move. Adam looks back at him, and he's moving. He's getting up. He's not dead. He starts pulling off fake blood. Fake blood, and whatchamacallit looks like he disguised himself. He gets up. we actually noticed that this guy looks familiar. He is actually the cancer patient that Zepp talked about in the beginning of the show. His name is John Kramer. It's John Kramer. He's the actual Jigsaw killer. Yes. Big twist right there. When that scene first came out, it blew everyone's mind. Like, holy shit, that guy's alive. There's no way in the world he could have stayed that way. Well, you'll find out later on in the series how he managed to do that. But he wakes up and he tells John the key for that lock is in the bathtub there for you to get out. And then we hear the iconic Saw theme music, which will be playing out at everyone when everything comes into play, as far as the rules of the game, what the purpose of the game was, and why you failed or passed your test. And obviously, Adam did not pass his test, and neither did the doctor, because he did not kill the doctor at a certain time, nor did Adam do the right thing. And we hear the ultimate Saw music. I'll leave a link in the description below about that famous Saw music. And of course, we hear the iconic ending of the movie, Game Over. He shuts Adam in the dark, cuts off all the power, shuts Adam in the dark, and that's the end of Saw, and everyone just went off. Yeah, that was a very intense movie. I really enjoyed it. I was particularly interested in the traps. They were very great. They were very widely done. A lot of people were saying that you couldn't get out of the traps. Yeah, they could have gotten out of the traps if you think about it. The way Jigsaw makes his traps, and you'll say how he makes his traps in the rest of the series, in the Saw series, is that you have to do the thing that you're not hurting yourself in life. As far as Jigsaw's mind, as far as Jigsaw's reality is concerned, is that, hey, you cut yourself with a razor, or you pretend that you're sick but you're not. So in order to change your life or realize what you're doing is wrong, I'm going to make you really sick. So I'm going to give you this poison. And you can save yourself, but you're going to have to really work for it. Not only are you going to have to find the combination of the antidote in the safe by looking at all these numbers, but you're going to be butt naked, and plus you're going to have to hold a candle. That's your only light source, and then you're going to have to make sure you don't drop it because your whole body is covered in flammable liquids. Yeah, it might seem impossible at first, but he had plenty of time. He could have taken his time. He really didn't have to rush. I'm pretty sure he was a bit nervous and freaked out, but if he would have calmed himself down and just say, look, okay, I'm going to be calm. I don't know how long he would have had before the poison took over him, because he really didn't say how long he had. I'm pretty sure that's why he was rushing. But unfortunately, he failed. And the same thing with the guy on the razor trap. Obviously, he didn't make sure that he could have taken the path of least resistance, where he could have just cut himself a few times if he really wanted to live and got out of it before the door shut. And both those guys failed. You see, Amanda passed her test. She did what she wanted to do in order to live. She got the key. She used the whatchamacallit, cut up the dude. Yeah, unfortunately the dude died, but that's his loss. She wanted to live, and that's why she lived, and the others didn't. So that's my take on the traps. Yeah. The traps seem inescapable, but if you really look at it, they're not. You just really have to do a lot in order to get out of it. So, what did you think about Saw? Did you enjoy the first Saw movie, where you really freaked out when Dr. Garton Lewis cut his foot off? Did you thought the traps were inescapable? What do you think about Jigsaw and John Kramer? Comment below and let me know, and we'll talk about it, because I really did love the first Saw. So that's my review of the first Saw. I'll be doing Saw 2 probably when I get back from vacation, because I'll be on vacation next week. So I'll probably be doing Saw 2 or Saw 3 probably in 2 weeks, so I can get caught up, because I'll be on vacation next week. Yeah, so that's the plan I have right now. But as long as nothing else happens, I did have some technical difficulties trying to get my videos up last night. So as long as nothing happens, I'll get Saw 2 and Saw 3 up by next week. So that's my video for today. If you really did enjoy this video, and if it's your first time here, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, all my social media links will be in the description below as well. Like I said, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. And if it's Halloween, it must be Jigsaw.